Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the Pixel Lab. Thanks for checking out our Octane Lighting Essentials. It's quickly becoming one of my favorite products and we're getting a lot of great reviews. So we launched with, I think, 11 different studio scenes, and these are all Octane studio setups that are gonna get you going really quick. And if you've been following along, you know that we've been releasing free updates as we go. Every month or two, we've been releasing a new studio scene, and we're gonna be doing this for the next year or so. So I wanted to walk you through the new updated ones. We have a jewelry, a procedural spotlight, and a high-tech studio. So I'm gonna walk you through them just so you know what's new and what we have going on. So let's start with our jewelry scene and we'll fire that up. So this is a really nice and elegant little scene. You can play around with the black to white. This is perfect for jewelry. You can play around with the floor reflection. You can see how fast it is to work with also, which is great. So we can play around with the floor reflection, drop that down a little bit. We can also add some blur to that reflection, and really quickly we can get a very nice look. Let's add a little bit more reflection. We can also add some lights in the left or right corners. If you want to do that, you can also add it in both corners. Just add some extra pops of light, and we can play around with the temperature and make those cold lights if we wanted to. And we can also play around with the power of our HDRI. So that is our jewelry scene. It's a very simple and elegant and beautiful scene. Let's dive into our next one, which is the procedural spotlight. So this one is a very unique scene, and I'm going to actually show you behind the scenes here. So if we go to Window and Layer Manager, under the M, let's click that Layers button to unlock them. And you can see that we have our espresso rig here. And we also have an Octane Sky with an environment tag, and it has a noise channel in it. Now, our espresso rig is actually driving this noise, which is what makes it procedural. So it's a pretty inventive little way of doing this. So for scale, we can drop that way down, and if we go back to our tag, you can see that now we have a lot of different highlights, and these are going to be lighting your scene. So if you did this, you'd get a lot of specks of light. Now, the cool thing about doing it procedurally is now we can scale this up, but we can also do things like add a feather to it with a soft spot. If we do that and go back to our tag, you can see that now we have more of a softbox type look. So it's a really great way to kind of just test out a bunch of different looks. You can expand the spots and make them even bigger if you want to. And we can play around with our seed, which is really nice for just demoing some different looks. We can play around with position, rotation, and also the color of these spotlights. You can easily change the color of them, which is really cool. So that is our procedural spotlight studio, very cool rig. And now let's jump into our latest one, which is the high-tech studio. And this is one of my favorite ones. Let's fire this up and see what's going on. All right, so the first thing you need to know is that this is a view-dependent scene, and what that means is that we've set up the specular highlights to hit your technology in a really pleasing way. We can move it around a little bit, but you'll notice that if we do, we're going to start to lose those highlights, which are perfectly placed for you. So you're probably not going to want to move the camera around too much. You can move it around a little bit, but kind of keep it in this general range just to get those really nice highlights. All right, so let's see what else we can change in here. We can change the hard edge to a rounded reflector if we wanted to, and that's going to give us a nice rounded reflection. We can change the inner radius too if we wanted to add sort of a light sweeping. That'll kind of punch a hole out of the reflector and you can get some nice bands of light. Another thing we can do is play around with the power. So if we want those reflections to be quite a bit hotter, we can do that. We also have the HDRI, which we can drop down if we want to have more of a darker background. We can also play around with the floor color. And right now it's sort of a charcoal. If we want to drop that down and make it even moodier, we can do that. And part of that is also the roughness. If we want to drop that down, we can get much more of a dark and moody scene. Or we can go the other way and crank the color up to a white and get a lighter studio scene. But this is looking really, really nice. Let's go ahead and change that rounded reflector, and we'll turn that off and make that a straight edge again. And let's increase the radius if we want the reflection to come down a little bit farther. So this is one of my favorite scenes. It's really fast to work with, and you can really dial in some beautiful glossy looks. So those are the 3 new updates to Octane Lighting Essentials. I hope that you like them. Make sure to check out the other ones. We have 14 beautiful studios now, and like I said, we're going to be adding them every month or two, so make sure to check back and see what new ones we have next. As always, thank you for checking out the Pixel Lab. We'll talk to you next time. Ciao.